Hello, I hope all is well. So, about a year ago, I made a Reddit post asking people for some of the dumbest ways they tried to make money when they were a noob in RuneScape. This topic was really quite nostalgic for me, and it brought back a lot of memories, and I finally got around to putting some of my favorites into a video. But first, a shout out to my imaginary sponsor, Established My Backyard. According to a 21st century custom, owners of as little as 1 square foot of land in my backyard, or anyone else for that matter, may give themselves whatever title they please when commenting on a YouTube video or Reddit post. Better yet, if you purchase your plot today, it will be very close to my house, as my yard is not very big. Hurry up, they're going fast, so just pay me a bunch of money for a fake piece of land in my backyard that you won't actually own, and I may use some of that money to plant a tree or two in my neighbor's yard. Thanks again to my imaginary sponsor, Established My Backyard. So up first is an absolutely terrible moneymaker that I myself used several times. Not proud to admit, but way back in the day, 2005 or so, when I was a very new member and found out about the ranging guild. So I basically just put on monk's robes, a holy symbol, and a mace to maximize my prayer bonus. Put on protect from range, went up in the archery tower, stood there and let the addy arrows fall at my feet, wait till there was a little stack of them, and pick them up. Now, that was a terrible moneymaker even back then, though addy arrows were worth a little bit more, maybe, I don't know, 50 to 80 GP each. It took a long time to get any significant amount of arrows, and I quickly realized this was probably not going to be my ticket to wealth, to affording that Santa hat or that abyssal whip, whatever I was saving up for at the time. But yes, I did at one point stand there collecting arrows. Thought it would be essentially a free unlimited source of adamant arrows, but it took way longer than I thought, and this was a terrible noob moneymaker. Next up comes from a post from Reddit, and I think this is kind of a common theme for back in the day, and it's misinformation spreading. Before things like the RuneScape wiki were around, rumors would start, maybe even amongst your middle school class, about how to get something rare in RuneScape, and they would just spread and almost become like a half-truth. So somebody put that they were told that if you killed white knights during Christmas, that you could actually get a Santa hat. And I even did this at one point, not particularly for a Santa hat, but I also, going back to the addy arrow thing, I remember killing white knights as a free-to-play noob because they dropped like 2 addy arrows, and somehow I thought that was a cool and valuable drop. Terrible moneymaker. So up next is your classical, there's a bunch of stuff on the ground, so I'm just going to pick it up and sell it. So somebody posted that they picked the grain at the wheat field just south of Varrock for hours and then sold it on the Grand Exchange. Not a super high-end moneymaker, but I guess, hey, you know, it's something. It's probably better than my addy arrow idea. Up next is a pretty classic element of the old game, and that is woodcutting, but waiting for somebody else's axe head to fly off. So back in the old days, woodcutting axes and pickaxes heads could fly off. I think it was part of their anti-botting mechanics, but after a minute or so of falling on the ground, it would appear to other players, and if you picked up someone's rune axe head, that was a decent amount of money you just made yourself there. Up next is another post from Reddit, and something I myself did way back in the day, and that is panning near the dig site. Looks like you actually get a tiny amount of mining and fishing experience, so there's a new idea for a series. My panning only Ultimate Iron Man, so don't nobody steal that idea. I got dibs on that one. But I just remember I did this for quite some time, thinking that maybe you could get something really good, maybe diamonds, maybe dragon stones, heck, maybe even an onyx. Ultimately, this is a pretty terrible way to make money, as I think you need several of these nuggets to even get a single gold ore. You could get 8 coins, an opal, a topaz, but it is kind of interesting. Terrible moneymaker, but sort of fun, I guess. Next up, we have another post from Reddit. Somebody said they would accept the job from the store manager here at the grocery store in Port Sarim, and then he would essentially go through all the boxes in this poor man's back of his shop, steal all the items, and then sell them right back to him. Man, that is a rough way to go. But it looks like he has some potatoes, some cabbage, some banana, and raw chicken. This man keeps raw chicken in a crate. I don't know if RuneScape or Gillinor has a health department, but they probably need one, because chicken should not be kept in a crate. Oh, it does not even sell. It does not even for a coin. that's kind of disappointing. So yes, that in fact would be a terrible money maker. 1 GP from all of that. Terrible way to try to make money, even as a lowly noob in 2005. Up next, we have one that I can imagine would have been heartbreaking for a 10-year-old back in the day, and that is somebody posted they collected 1,000 cabbage to sell them to this NPC here in Zenaris, who will pay 100 GP each per cabbage. I'm going to go ahead and grab that eclectic, excuse me for 1 second. But they found out that, oh, unfortunately, they do not accept noted cabbage. So this poor guy spent hours after school collecting all this cabbage, only to realize that selling them 27 at a time, you're never going to make any money because it costs a cut diamond to get in here. So that was a lot of wasted time, but hey, he collected a bunch of cabbage before collections were a thing, so at least he got that going for him. Up next is another really old school one, not one I ever did, but I have some friends, I know some friends who did this one, who would buy this gray wolf fur for 60 coins in Ardougne, and go ahead and sell it to the fur trader here in Varrock, and he will pay you 120 coins. So you can make 60 coins per fur. That is about 1.6k per inventory. So wow, that barely covered the cost of the law rune back then, but hey, I guess if you buy several inventories and it's just a lot of clicking, you could make a little bit of money, but you know, this is not one I would go with personally. So I did try to somewhat avoid the more well-known methods, but I had to throw this one in here just because I spent so much time doing this back in the day. Someone posted taking the job on the banana plantation, and I think actually one of the reasons this was here, other than being part of the Pirate's Treasure quest, is before the home teleport, if you got stuck on Karamja, there was no way off because the only way to go was the boat. It cost 30 coins. So if you did not have cash on you, you had to take the job at the banana plantation picking bananas for 3 GP each. That was your only way to afford that boat ticket home. Alright, my last method here, somebody posted about this on Reddit. It's another one that I spent quite a bit of time doing, and that is collecting the Chaos Runes here in level 38 Wilderness at the Moss Giants. I also spent a bunch of time collecting the ones in the Dark Warriors Fortress. So ultimately, of all the methods here, this one is probably by far the least bad. I know back in the day, Chaos Runes were like 100 GP each, and 100 GP was kind of a decent amount of money. But I do remember one time getting about 100 or 200 of these and then getting killed. That was super disappointing. Alright, that is pretty much going to do it for this video. Thank you for watching. I do hope you found it somewhat interesting. I will go ahead and post the link to that thread in case anyone is interested in reading some more of the methods that people posted. It got a lot of traction back about a year ago. I think it had over 800 comments, so it was really kind of brought a lot of nostalgia looking back at some of the things that other people posted and realizing I did a lot of these methods. So, alright, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.